In this video, we're going to build on what we did in the previous video, in which we created a new HotDocs workspace. Now we need to add content to that workspace. And we can do that in a couple of different ways. We're only going to focus on one of those two ways, but they're both represented by these buttons that appear up here next to the workspace menu button. We're going to go through the process of creating a new HotDocs template. We'll click on this button momentarily. The other way is simply to import existing HotDocs content, and we will cover that in a separate video. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to click on the New Template button, or Create New Template button, and I'm then presented with this New Template dialog. Now, there is different content that you can create with this New Template dialog. We're going to focus on creating a HotDocs template. It's word-based. It's going to be in the docx format. That's the most common type of HotDocs content that you can create. So we're going to leave that selected here, but if you wanted to switch that to a different type of content, of course, you could click on the drop-down, and we'll cover these other types of content in separate videos. I am going to create a new template that we'll call the sales agreement. And so I need to give the template file a name, and that's what I do here in the file name field. I'm simply going to type in sales agreement. But you'll notice as I do that, not only does HotDocs append a docx extension to the file name itself, but below in the title field, HotDocs takes the file name and suggests that as the title of the template. And we can display the title of the template in the workspace once the template itself is created. Most of the time the file name and the title can and will be the same, but if you want to differentiate the title from the file name for whatever reason, you can take that suggested title that HotDocs puts in there and change it as needed. You can also provide a description of the template. This is an optional field, but it might be helpful for other users to know what this template does, what kinds of documents it produces. So you can leave that blank if you like, or you can flesh that out with some sort of description of the template and the kind of document it creates. Now, most of the time, when you create a new template in HotDocs, you're going to want to base it on an existing document. And that's what this initial contents field is for. It's optional because technically you could create a blank HotDocs template, but more often than not, you've got a document that you want to use as the basis for a new HotDocs template, and this is where we specify that. Now I'm going to click on this Browse button here to browse out to my desktop because I have got a Word document called Sales Agreement out on my desktop. And indeed, if I click on my desktop here, I see Sales Agreement listed. So I'm just going to double click on that. And now that document is referenced within this initial contents field. This document, if you're following along and you want to replicate the exercises that we're doing here in these videos, is available to you on the downloads page within HotDocs Academy. So there will be a link there to this same document that I'm using. You can download it and replicate what I'm doing here on screen and set up your own HotDocs template based on that document. So that's all I really need to do here. There are some other things we could do. We could set up some template properties. Those are more advanced functions, at least at this point, so we will leave those for now. I'm simply going to click on OK. And then what that does is it starts Word, because HotDocs is in the process of creating a Word-based HotDocs template. And what it also does, once it brings up Word, is it loads what we call the HotDocs field editor, and that's what you're seeing over here on the right-hand side of the screen. There is also a HotDocs author ribbon available to you. I'm going to click on that ribbon, and you'll see that there are some buttons here representing different tools that you have available to you. Between the HotDocs author ribbon and the HotDocs field editor over here on the right-hand side, you have all the tools available at your disposal to develop the template. And of course, we'll be going through that in subsequent exercises and subsequent videos, but we are finished with the actual template creation process. Now, what I could do here is I could click on Go to Workspace just to see what happens in the workspace itself now that I have created a template. And you'll see as I do that, it pulls me back into the Workspace Explorer. And now I am seeing that sales agreement template referenced. So there's a reference to the template over here on the left-hand side of the screen. Over here on the right-hand side of the screen is a bit more information about the template itself. The different files that got created as part of this process now reside in the workspace itself. And then there's some other what we call metadata here for HotDocs Hub. We'll get to that in a subsequent video. But you can see now that we have created a template. It's available to us in Workspace. If I were to come back over to Word, click on the Save button, and then close out of this template, when I'm back in Workspace, if I want to access that template again or bring it up for editing, I can do so easily enough just by making sure it's highlighted here and then clicking on the Edit button. That will again start Word and pull the template up in Word, launch the field editor, and make the HotDocs author ribbon available to me. And it's now at this point that I can start developing the template. And we will start that process in the next video.